Oh shit. Hey guys, my name is Eric and I run a business that does $12 million a year. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the 10 things you need to avoid when running a small business. This is my business, Shop Superline. Like I said before, this business does $12 million a year. What we do is we sell blank garments to clothing brand owners, and we just sell really good priced, good quality blank garments to the general public. And everything that I learned from running this business and growing this business is what I'm gonna teach you in this video. And I'm gonna tell you what not to do because I've made so many mistakes, and everything that I've told you not to do, I've done myself. All right, so first things first, poor cash management. This right here is a Miss Lee. Every single business needs a Miss Lee. Her job is to be not only the certified bitch, but her job is also to make sure that the cash flow of the business is healthy. A lot of times when people start businesses, they don't really have any understanding of financial literacy. And whenever you run a business, your main job as a CEO, as the owner, is understanding what to do with the money, where to invest it, and to even know if you're profitable or not profitable. For me personally, I learned a lot of my cash flow and I learned a lot about financial literacy through selling weed. Yes, through selling weed. I learned about cash accounting because I had to go and pick up 50 pounds, break it down, see what I was making, and do it over again. That's why when it came to this product business, I already had a basic understanding of how that worked. What I didn't have an understanding was more of the corporate side of accounting. So in accounting, there's a thing called accrual accounting, right? And all these other terms that I didn't really understand. So what I did starting last year was I started implementing a company to come and audit my financials every year. So at the end of Q4, a company will come in and audit my financials and let us know if we're profitable, if we're losing money, if we're gaining money, where the areas of weaknesses are and where our strengths are. So if you want to run a business, the very first thing you need is you need a Miss Lee. And if you don't have a Miss Lee, you got to be the Miss Lee. Understanding the finances of your business is essentially the most important part. It's like, imagine you trying to lose weight or you trying to be a fitness model and not understanding how much you weigh or how many calories you're intaking or how many calories you need to be intaking or how many calories you lost that day or what workouts you need to do. The financials gives you those metrics so that way you can go out and sculpt the best body and the best business for yourself. So that's the number one thing. The number two thing that I see a lot of businesses fail on is not solving a real problem. Here at Shop Superline, the problem that we're solving is what I call arbitrage. A lot of these clothing brand owners, if they were to go overseas and manufacture these clothes, something like this, they would have to order 5,000 to 10,000 pieces. And most clothing brand owners at a small scale don't have enough money to do that. So what is the problem that we're solving? You can come to Shop Superline and buy one of these pieces at a price for 35 bucks to where you could still embellish it and still make a profit and turn around and sell it for $80. The problem that we're solving is we're offering fashion blank garments at an affordable price to clothing brand owners. Before Shop Superline, this was not a thing. You could not walk into a store like this and buy blanks like this at the price that we're offering it at. So the problem that we solve is we're offering really good products at a really affordable price and fashion forward blanks to clothing brand owners. A lot of you guys out here that are running a business, make sure that when you run a business, whatever you're doing, there's a competitive advantage. Make sure that there's a need for it in the market. Make sure that there's a market product fit. And what that means is that whatever product you're making, whether it's clothes, it's washing cars, a service, cutting hair, whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that there is a customer attached to that thing. If you're doing a luxury barbershop in a city, in a rural town, chances are it's probably not going to work because in that rural town, there isn't product market fit. There aren't enough rich people that want to have a luxury haircut experience. However, if you're in a rural town and you're doing a great clips where you're offering $15 cuts, chances are that business will be booming. Why? Because there's a great product market fit. There are a lot of people in rural towns that don't have money, that are trying to save money and get a haircut for 15 bucks. So remember that. Product market fit and making sure that your business has some sort of value and some sort of customers. Number three, the next reason why small businesses fail is because the pricing and the pricing strategy is off. For example, here at Shop Superline, we sell these, I call them one and done shirts. They are absolutely the cheapest shirt in the market, the cheapest quality. We sell these for $3.50 and at wholesale, we sell them for $2.50. In comparison to the market, that is a comparable price. However, if I was selling this shirt for $4 or $5, chances are most people would not come here. Why? Because they could go down the street and get a shirt of a similar quality for way cheaper. So whenever you're running a business, you have to make sure that your products and your service are priced relative to the market so that way you could compete. And it goes both ways. If you price it too high, you're not going to get customers in. And if you price it too low, you're not going to profit any money. So for us, this shirt right here, we made it for $2.35. At $3.50, we're still profiting $1 and we're still competing against the other t-shirt stores stores in the space. Other stores are selling them for $3.50 to $4. It's essentially the same sort of price range. So whenever you're running a business, going back to the haircut analogy, make sure that whatever you're offering is in line with the market. And one thing to think about is what I like to call the race to the bottom. So whenever you're in a competition with another company, sometimes what happens is companies will try to race to the bottom, which is okay. We do that here as well, but that is not a sustainable model. If your model is to always undercut, eventually there is going to be no profit and you're not going to be able to keep the lights on. So again, when I talk about pricing strategy, it's a fine balance of pricing it high enough to where you're making a profit and you're not turning customers away, but also pricing it not too low to where you're losing out money and you're not profiting money. It is a balance, and to every industry, to every business, it is going to be different. Obviously, companies like Louis Vuitton, they price their things very, very high, but on the flip side, they're spending millions of dollars on marketing and they're trying to attract a certain buyer. Companies like Walmart and Fashion Nova and even Shop Superline, we're pricing our prices as low as possible, but not too low to the point where we're not making money and we're not a profitable business. The fourth reason why small businesses fail is their marketing sucks. This right here is the marketing department of Superline. As you guys already know, we have over 1 million followers on Instagram, and on our second Instagram, we have close to 100,000 followers. It doesn't matter how good your product is if your marketing isn't good. If people don't know about it, if people don't know to come there, you're not gonna get any sales. But on the flip side, the best marketing is having the best product. If your product is undeniably better than everyone else's, the word of mouth and the marketing will spread, and then it's your job to start to learn how to pour gasoline onto that. My advice to marketing is this: try not to sell something, try to build a community. Even the reasons why we do these videos, the reasons why we created a blog, the reasons why we have this entire team is so that way we create a community first, then sell the product and market the product second. So a lot of times when people market their stuff, they're so focused on, look at this amazing mic, look at this amazing logo, look at this amazing color. Instead, what you should be doing is, hey, here are some tips on how you can go viral, so that way people who are in need of a mic will look at those tips and then turn around and be like, well, if this guy knows what he's talking about in terms of going viral, he probably does have a really good mic. It's the same thing what we do here. We don't go and shove our products down people's throat. We don't go there and say, hey, look at these amazing shorts, look at these amazing shirts. What we do is, did you know that shirts have GSMs? And here's what GSM means. It's the heaviness of a shirt. Did you know that these long shorts are really in trend right now? Giving people free game and creating a community then turns around and builds trust, so that way we can go and market to them. These are the new shorts that we have coming out. These are the new t-shirts we have coming out. So if you want to get some marketing tips, remember, create a community first, sell and market your product second. The fifth thing why your small business will fail is because there is no differentiating factor. So I'll give you guys a perfect example. When we first started Shop Superline, we had a traditional wholesale model. The general public or somebody who wanted to buy clothes could not come inside the store. You had to have a reseller's license, or you had to hit a certain minimum quantity order. You had to spend a certain amount of money to get access to the store. That's how it was traditionally for all of the wholesale departments on this block. And even if you go down Buford Highway now, a lot of these wholesalers still operate in that same way. They're not interested in selling to the general public. They're interested in selling to business owners and people who are going to cash out heavy. So they gatekeep their product and their pricing to the general public. What blew us up and what made Superline what it is today is the fact that when I came into the business, I took that all away. I opened the stores to where anyone can come in. If you have an idea for a brand and you don't have a reseller's license, or if you can't even afford 100 shirts, it doesn't matter. Anyone and everyone that wanted to create a clothing brand, I gave them access to the store to where it was walk-in friendly. That is what differentiated us from everyone else. So if you're creating a brand or a business, remember this: what is different about your business than everyone else? Why should somebody come there versus another business? And for us, one of the key things was having it open to the general public, to where you didn't have to have a reseller's license and you didn't have to have a business license to come into the store. Number 6, you always have to be innovating. When we first started the company, we called it Superline Wholesale. And the premise was we were offering wholesale garments to the general public. Now, if you go on our Instagram Instagram, or even if you go on our website, it's Shop Superline. The reason why is because we wanted to innovate the company. We didn't want to be just known for selling wholesale garments. We wanted to be known for selling affordable, high-end fashion pieces to the general public. We didn't want to just be a wholesaler. We wanted to be a retailer as well. So that's why we changed the name. The whole premise was creating content around being a clothing entrepreneur and a clothing brand owner. Now, if you go to the Instagram, it's Superline Network, and the content is way wider than just clothing. We're posting memes, watches, jewelry, cars, everyday pop culture news. The reason why is because we wanted to innovate. And what we actually ended up doing was we split the two companies, and now Superline Network is its own entity that has its own LLC and its own employees and its own source of income. They are essentially two separate companies now. The reason for this is this. If you go to a body of water, right? If you go to one water where it's a pond, a lake, that's stagnant. There's no movement, there's no waves, there's nothing. It's just stagnant and it sits there for over 10 years. If you go jump in that water, or even if you go drink that water, chances are you're gonna get sick. Why? Because that water that has no movement festers a lot of bad bacteria and decaying bacteria. On the flip side, if you go to a river that's constantly flowing, that's constantly moving, if you drink that water, chances are you'll be okay. Why? Because that movement flushes out the bad bacteria and keeps it cleaner and fresher. Business is the exact same way. If you stay stagnant, if you stay maintaining, you are creating decaying bad bacteria. However, if you're constantly moving and innovating, you're encouraging growth and you're encouraging the cleanliness and the longevity of your business. Business is a movement game. It is all about constantly moving forward, constantly innovating, and constantly finding new ways to reinvent yourself. You cannot be the same business and the same person for 5 to 10 years. It is not going to work. You need to constantly find the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Number 7, poor systems will kill your business. So if you come to Shop Superline, most stores don't do it like this. If anything, a lot of t-shirt stores don't do it like this. But what we do is we sit here and we barcode every single shirt and every single garment. Everything in the store has a barcode. The barcode isn't just reliant on the product, it's also specific to the color and size. So this white shirt has its own separate barcode because it's white and because it's a size large. As you can see, these shorts, they have barcodes. As you can see, these shorts, they have barcodes. And again, I can't specify this enough, every single color and size has its own unique barcode. And the reason why we do that is this. Let me show you. When I started Shop Superline, believe it or not, this was where we checked out, and I had everything paper and pen. So you had to manually write out the colors and sizes and manually do the math. Now what we have is a POS system to where you could just scan out the barcode and the system will automatically remove that color and size from the inventory. So not only is it easier to scale, it also keeps track of the inventory. And what that does is it allows us to create what I call an omni-channel distribution center. So the inventory of the entire store is in this cloud, and whether it gets sold in store or it gets sold online, it gets deducted from the cloud of inventory. So that way the inventory is always accurate. And the barcodes help us check every single order. So every single online order, for example, this one right here has a Shaka-Wear white large t-shirt. How do you know if it's the right shirt, the right color, the right size? Somebody will pick it and somebody will come behind them and make sure they scan the barcode with the order to make sure that the customer is getting exactly what they ordered. So good systems will help you scale and they'll help you mitigate losses and help you run a cleaner, more efficient business. Number 8, bad leadership. Look, this is something that can be its whole entire video. Being a leader and running a business and owning a company, it is not what you think. It is not this idea of, oh, you know what, start your own business so you can have freedom. It is actually the exact opposite thing. When you start your own company, when you start your own business, you don't get freedom. You get the exact opposite. You get fucking imprisonment. Day and night and day, all I have on my mind is either this business or my family. I don't even have time to hang out with my real friends anymore. That's how much this business has consumed me and my life. I can empathize with anyone that's starting a business. It is not easy, but the hardest thing is having a level-minded head and a level-minded leadership mentality. It is so easy to crash out on employees. It is so easy to blame vendors, to blame factories, to blame employees for things that are not working out. But ultimately, if you're a leader, you are the problem and you are the solution. That is it. And it's your job to figure it out, and it's your job to lead the team to figure it out. These are things that I'm learning along the way, and even to this day, I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. I crash out every other day, but Leadership is vital. It is the glue that holds the entire company and all the pieces together. Good leadership can take a shitty business to really good places, and bad leadership can take a really good business to shitty places. It works both ways. I could go on for hours. Number 9, another reason why small businesses fail is bad bookkeeping. A lot of times what people will end up doing is they'll start mixing their personal finances with their business finances. You see this? I have 2 phones. I have 2 phones, 2 bank accounts, 2 credit cards, 2 of everything. Why? This one right here is for my personal life, my wife, my friends, my family. This one right here is for my work. It's the same thing with my business in my bank. I have a bank account that I personally have money in for myself, which are things like vacations, going out to eat with the family, buying nice clothes for myself, buying a nice car for myself. And then I have a business account, which is for buying inventory, making payroll, investing in the marketing, buying new equipment or new printers for the business. Make sure that your books are clean and make sure that they're separate. It is not your money, it is the company's money. And believe it or not, even for me at this stage, I don't have a lot of personal money because a lot of the money that I do make, it goes back into the business. So you have to understand this divide and this line as a business owner of what is my money and what is the company's money. And however you spend your money, that's up to you. If you want to go and buy an iced out watch with your personal money, you're allowed to do that. That's why you work hard. However, if you want to go buy an iced out watch with the company's money, that is irresponsible and that is not the right decision to make. The company money is separate from your personal money, and a lot of business owners get this commingled and get it confused. They think that, oh, because the business is making $1 million a year, I can go buy a G-Wagon. No, what you got to do is if the business is making $1 million a year, out of that million, you got to pay yourself some money, and then with that money, you can go buy a G-Wagon. But you shouldn't be buying the G-Wagon with the company money. You shouldn't be commingling the funds. You should be having a clean, separate book. A lot of times people don't understand that, and you have to understand that. You have a financial responsibility as a CEO, as the owner, to make sure that you're doing right by the company money. And the way I look at it is this. With my personal money, I spend it recklessly. I don't look at my credit cards. I don't see where the money went. I don't care. On my personal side, I essentially live paycheck to paycheck. That's just how I live at this stage. I have somebody come clean the house once a week. I don't ever wash my car. I paid to get it washed. I have luxuries in my life. I buy nice things, as you can see. But on the business side, I'm the exact opposite. Every fucking dollar that comes out of the account, I have to double check it. Every single dollar that comes into the account, I have to double check it. Why? Because it's my job as a CEO to make sure that this money is getting allocated in the right way. So understanding how to keep your books clean and understanding that you got 2 separate books, 2 separate accounts, 2 separate things is what you need to understand. Number 10, the last reason why businesses fail is because they're quitting too soon and they're expecting instant results. When you cook a cup noodle, that shit takes 1 minute to cook. Making a business ain't cooking a cup noodle. Making a business is going to Japan and cooking the fucking most goddamn craziest ramen noodle in the world. That shit takes years and years and years. Don't think that you're gonna start a business today and tomorrow you're gonna have instant success. That is not how this works. Even for me, what you're watching in this video is over 10 years in the making. Before I got to this point, I was printing with this heat press vinyl machine in the warehouse for many, many summers with swamp dick, sweating my ass off, trying to make $3 a shirt. Even till this day, even right now, last night I was talking to my wife about, should I just sell the business? Should I just get rid of it? It's too much stress. I'm dealing with too much. I just can't handle it. It is the most taxing thing that you'll ever do in your life aside from being a parent. I'm also a parent, so that shit is very taxing too. But a lot of times what people do is when they encounter something difficult, they quit too early and they give up. If you're not willing to get pushed to the fucking limit every single day of your life, do not start a business. Nothing about starting a business is easy. Every day, I wake up and I doubt myself. And I think, is this worth it? Am I making the right decision? Is this worth the stress that I'm taking on? But this is what I signed up for. So if you're starting your business, you have to understand what things you should quit that are not beneficial to you in the business and what things that you just gotta stick it out and you gotta fight through it. Whatever I'm going through behind closed doors, there are a lot of things happening. I just have to find out how to fight through and stick through it. I can't just give up on all these employees. I can't just give up on everyone that believes in me and in this vision. It is not fair to them. It is not fair to myself. It is not fair to the company. However, there are things that sometimes people try to do too much. It's a fine balance. If you want to start a business, understand this. It is not going to happen overnight, and it is going to push you to your limits. So make sure when you get into the ring, you know what the fuck you're signing up for. Because when Mike Tyson comes with that uppercut and you get punched in the face, 9 out of 10 people will quit. But the person that doesn't quit and keeps coming up and keeps standing up and keeps willing to fight, that's the resilient one that's going to make it this far. That's why I'm here today, and hopefully I'll be here tomorrow. Because if I get knocked down, I'll get back up. Hopefully. Knock on wood. All right, guys, hopefully you learned something. If you guys liked the video, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe. Remember, cameraman Alex is still gooning his shit at his mom's house. He wants to get out of his mom's house, so make sure you guys run up these videos. Make sure you guys leave a comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, watch it on your TV. He's trying to get out of his house, y'all. He's sick of fucking beating his shit next to his mom's. All right, you know we stay giving y'all free game.